Ms. Mangram, you're here today after losing your son to a violent crime. You say the defendant, Ms. Schools, is claiming your deceased son is her child's father, which you say is impossible.
Yeah.
Ms. Schools, you say you have no doubt that Mr. Mangram fathered your child, and today you will prove it to his family. How did you find out about Ms. Schools' pregnancy, Ms. Mangram?
Oh, well, it was on June 23rd. We were at the hospital. My son, he was shot. She came up to me and she said, Miss Venus, my name is Amber, and I'm pregnant with Dominique's baby. Yeah, so I looked at her and I said, yeah, baby, you pregnant, all right, but I don't know if it's Dominique's baby. And I turned around, I just left it at that. I didn't want to hear that. Anybody coming telling me that they pregnant, I didn't want to hear. No time, no, I just didn't want it.
So, Ms. Schools, is that how it happened?
No, it's not. I actually wrote her on Facebook and told her, I was like, hey, Miss Venus, my name is Amber. I'm actually downstairs. I was like, I don't know if Dominique told you or not, but I'm actually 3 months pregnant with his baby. I was like, I'm downstairs in the hospital, and just to let him know that I'm here, because I didn't know what was going on. I was just informed that he was shot. So I'm like, I'm downstairs just to let him know that I'm here and I'm praying for him. So I didn't get a response. So I actually get on the elevator and I go upstairs and I see him hooked up to all these tubes and machines and stuff. So I'm just standing there looking, and I had told her, I was like, hey, Miss Venus, I'm Amber. I'm the one who wrote you on Facebook. So she was like, yeah, I got your message. So I'm sitting right there and I'm just crying. I see him hooked up to all this stuff and I'm pregnant, so I'm very emotional at the time. So I'm crying and I sit down right beside him, beside his bed, and she's rubbing on my back. Everything is gonna be okay, don't worry.
No, ma'am, no, ma'am, no, ma'am, no, ma'am, no. That did not, I am so sorry, no. I don't remember none of that. Now, the Facebook thing, okay, came after Dominique was already gone.
Right, but you got it. And you told me you got it.
And I wrote you back.
You did not write me back. You did not write me back. Because when I came in the room, you said, I got your message. How could you write somebody back and your main concern is your son?
I never told you that I got.
So hold on, Miss Mangram, I want to understand. You said you didn't get that. Well, of course, you're not checking Facebook when your son's in the hospital.
What I be looking like on the damn
I told you. I didn't know how to get in contact with nobody. I didn't know how to get in contact with nobody. So I wrote you.
Right now. Real dumb.
Yeah, okay.
Real dumb.
All right.
Because no, ma'am, not Venus, no, sir. Somebody coming telling me that they pregnant by my baby? No, I wouldn't. At that time, I did not care. Do you hear me? Do you understand me? I did not care.
I understand you. Yes, I do.
My son told me several times, okay, that there is about 3 or 4 girls who say they pregnant by him. Now, I knew about 2 of the girls, okay? I knew about 2 of the girls, but I never met Amber, okay?
And after the day in the hospital, you never got a chance to ask him about Miss Schools?
No.
Okay.
No.
So let's fast forward to when baby Dominique was born. You have the baby. During that time, do you keep in touch with Ms. Mangram and her family?
During the whole pregnancy, I kept them updated with everything. My baby shower. He sent me little forwarded messages off Facebook with prayers and stuff, telling me she loved me, and you know she's coming to the hospital to see me and my baby and stuff like that. And she came and saw my baby for about a couple minutes. She came and sat there like the second day I had my daughter. She came to the hospital and looked at her.
I went to the hospital.
Looked just like his baby picture. Looked just like his baby picture.
Oh no, sir. No, she do not. But I went there and then held the baby. And I took her hat off to look at her hair. And I said to myself, no.
She didn't ever tell me. She gonna sit there and say, she gonna tell somebody else, oh, this not a man because all my babies come out with a head full of hair. A baby has 2 parents.
Yes.
Not just fathers DNA. They have 2 parents.
All Mangram babies have a head full of hair.
Look at my baby. She got a head full of beautiful hair. Beautiful.
All Mangram babies had a head full of hair when they were born. Every last one of them. You know, Amber, I apologize, you know, but I honestly did not want the baby to be his baby.
Why is that?
I did not, because I did not need no more reminders of my baby. I did not need it. I don't want it, and that's all that it is.
So why we here? I
That's
told
all
you
that
leave it alone. My
the
baby was
reason
fine
why we're
when
here
she was
is
at.
because I'm sick and
I'm tired of that. I'm tired of
you
that. She
talking
was fine
about
when she was at.
daddy,
She got a grandmother.
watch over
She got
the
a daddy.
baby.
So why we
If he
here?
ain't the daddy, stop saying it.
She got one.
If he ain't the
Okay,
daddy,
let's-
stop
I
saying
told you
it.
leave it alone.
Ladies,
I told you leave it alone.
ladies.
Pay talking about
we was
daddy this and
friends.
daddy
We was
that.
friends.
Ladies.
Don't even here.
Ladies.
Let's get some order,
Enough.
ladies. Let's get some order. I know this is emotional and I know this is difficult. And it's interesting to me, Ms. Mangram, as I hear you testify, the pain of losing your son is so great. You don't want a reminder. You don't want that all the time because it just reminds you that he's no longer here. And I know that sometimes it's hard to just say what your truth is. And I appreciate your honesty. Those of us that have had to deal with very painful losses in our life, and I have had to do that, I know what you're saying because you find a compartment for that pain and you want to try to leave it there so you can function.
That's it, and go on. That's it.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell.
Every time I turn around, I can't stand it, even when people talk about him on Facebook. That's why I hardly go to his page. Because, and I know that he's a loving person. I know that he is. And how everybody miss him. But don't nobody miss him more than I do. And that's my baby. And I just want to be reminded of him. I love him, but I just don't want to be reminded because I'm just so tired of crying. I wake up in the night screaming, hollering, crying, because I just, oh God, my baby's gone.
I understand and I hear you. I hear you. And now we're in court today because there is a beautiful little girl.
And she is.
And she's named after your son.
Yeah. Dominique Samaya. She's a very pretty baby.
Her husband even told me I can name the baby after him. Like I was going to name my baby that regardless, but he gave me the honest name, give them the last name. You know, I was more close with the father. He came to me with open arms. Like, and in the beginning, I did want to be accepted by the mother, you know, but he did so much to me. Like words, verbally, it was.
Miss Scholes, I have to say this. I don't think you were trying to do anything malicious. I just think, unfortunately, this mother at that time could not process it all. Now her husband, Dominique's father,
Yeah.
I'd like to hear from him. He came to court today. Ron, can you please escort Mr. Mangram into the courtroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mr. Mangram,
Yes, sir.
get you come with me. I'm gonna have you go up and sit at the witness stand right next to the judge, if you will.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us, Mr. Mangram. We are here discussing the paternity of baby Dominique. And Ms. Scholes has testified that you were able to engage her and speak to her and even gave your permission for her to name the child after Dominique. Is that true?
Yes.
And why did you do that, sir?
My son told me that she was pregnant. He didn't just tell me that she was pregnant. She was right there when he told me.
When was that? Because he ain't never brought her over to the house. When did you see her?
She never got out of the car.
You've never heard of this day, Ms.
No.
Mangram?
I'm not here to argue. I met Amber and I accepted what my son told me.
I know it's difficult, sir. Take your time.
Yeah, it is. It's just a fight, you know what I'm saying? Between them, and it's like, I don't want to be in the middle of it, however it goes. I would still like to be around.
So, Ms. Mangram, your husband seems to think there is a possibility that this could be your son's child.
Yeah,
After you hear his testimony, do you feel differently?
I just feel in my heart that she is not a Mangram. We took the DNA test and it came back, ha ha ha, negative.
Wait, when did you do a DNA test?
It was probably back in April when it came back. But it was only because he had a blood transfusion.
Yeah.
And the blood transfusion can actually alter the DNA. That's more than one person's blood.
Let me have that evidence. What you're saying is they took DNA from the deceased Dominique's
Yes.
body.
Yes.
But this was right after
The next day.
the shooting and everything that happened, and in their attempt to save him, they had given him multiple transfusions. How many?
They just said massive. It's a whole lot.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And Ms. Schools, you are presenting evidence that shows that the blood was drawn the day after he passed away.
Yes.
You are also presenting evidence that says that there are several things that can validate or affect
She swore up and
paternity
down.
testing.
She got scientists. I'm telling her, oh, Miss,
I'm talking
like
to
Miss
scientists,
Venus.
yes.
I'm like Miss Venus. Like I'm sitting in the car crying because I'm like, this is not right. And I told her that day, this is not right. So she was like, everything's gonna be okay. So I'm sitting in the car crying to myself, like, it's something's wrong. And I look at the paper and I see the dates. So I do my research before I even tell anybody that, this is what I found out. And it comes back, yes, a blood transfusion can alter a paternity test. So I tell Miss Venus, I screenshot it to her and everything. So in the beginning, she was like, well, okay, if it's true, I want to do it again. So I'm like, okay. And then a couple days or a couple weeks later, she come back, oh, well, I talked to scientists, my mother or whoever works at a hospital. They telling me this not true and all of this.
But I'm sitting up here and I'm thinking, you was living with your boyfriend and messing with Dominique at the same
First of all,
time.
he wasn't even there.
Wait a minute now. So, Ms. Schools, were you living with another man while you were with...
So we stopped talking. He moved out. He wasn't even staying with us at the time. That's when I started talking to her son. And her son knew him. So he was like, well, that's not right. That's not how you're supposed to be treated. So before we even started having sex, we was friends before anything. And just so happened, it became more than what it was. He accepted that. Like, he already knew that. He already knew. And I told him the whole time. When he was the first one I told when I told both of them I was pregnant, actually. And
You told Dominique and the boyfriend?
right, I told him. And he was like, well, I want a DNA test. When I was pregnant, I volunteered to do a DNA test when I was pregnant. Yes. But Dominique my doctor told me that they had to stick a needle in my stomach and my sac to actually get the fluid around the baby and that I can have a miscarriage. So she was like, that's not the best option. Wait till you actually had a baby. So that's what I did. But unfortunately, he wasn't here.
Well, I'll tell you. This is exactly why we sit here every day. Because the stories change and they differ. But DNA is absolute. And so we have had you all undergo independent testing through this courtroom.
Yes.
And there will be no question as to what the results are when we hand them down.
All right.
We are going to go to the results. But before we do, Mr. Mangram, I have to ask you, if you'd like to stand with your wife, feel free. I know this is going to be very emotional news either way. The envelope, please, Ron.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. To be clear, because the blood card of the deceased was in question, we performed a DNA test with the surviving grandparents. With that being said, the results determine if there is a viable relationship between the child, Dominique, Samaya Mangram, and the grandparents, Andre and Venus Mangram. The results read as follows. In the case of Mangram versus Schools, when it comes to 18-month-old Dominique Samaya Mangram is not related to Andre and Venus Mangram.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it.
Ms. Austin, this is your third time here in our courtroom with Mr. Wallace and Ms. Roberts. Previously, you were here because Mr. Wallace questioned the paternity of your other child, but now you find yourself in the same situation. Today, you say you need to prove to Mr. Wallace that he is the father of your 9-month-old son, Ronell, so that he can begin to step up and be a father. Mr. Wallace, you claim you have multiple reasons to doubt when it comes to whether or not you are the biological father of this child, and hope today is your last visit to this courtroom. Let's take a look at what happened the last time you all were here.
I thought Ronell got himself together.
In addition, you have another child with Ms. Austin.
The kids, I love my kids dearly, but I shouldn't have
You
got
just
married.
don't love their mothers.
Correct.
When it comes to baby Danielle Wallace, Mr. Wallace, you are the father.
He is an innocent baby. Like, I ain't have a father in my life, so I don't want my kids to grow up not having no father in their life.
She is a whore.
Mr.
So perfect.
Wallace, you're not gonna address a woman in this courtroom that way. You better pipe yourself down. Get out of the courtroom, Mr. Wallace.
I never had anybody to show me how to treat a woman or to be a man, or just need help on.
And that's why you're here. So last time you were standing on the defendant's side with Ronell,
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Wallace. So now, Mr. Wallace, you back with Ms. Roberts.
Yes, ma'am.
But you still going back and forth between the two women because she's pregnant now and the baby could potentially be yours?
Yes.
Because let me just say something, because the last time I talked to you on the phone, you know I called you one day. You had your kids. You sounded so happy. You sound like you were on the right track. You said you had your kids and you all were having a great day. And I have been talking about you nonstop since then. When people ask me some of the cases that mean the most to me, you're one of the people. And so I have to say before I even start today, I'm so mad you all back up in here. So, Ms. Austin, I have to ask you, what has happened since the last time you all were here?
Since the last time we was here, everything started out okay, but we all knew that wasn't gonna last long. Ronell Wallace was still bouncing back from me and Kendrelyn. I had enrolled in school, but I never did go because I had got pregnant once again with Ronell. And she got pregnant with her baby, with her son. And as you can see now, once again, I'm pregnant again with my third baby.
First of all, I don't know if it's because you're nervous, Miss Austin, which, look, I wouldn't blame you if you were, but it's not funny. I keep seeing a smirk on your face. You know
it's
we're
sad.
not funny.
Because it's sad that I'm back here again.
You're disgusted with yourself that you're back here.
Yeah, for the same reason.
I can see behind your eyes the hurt. And the baby could potentially be yours?
Yes.
And the child that we are dealing with in terms of the paternity results today is a second child you had by
Yes.
Mr. Wallace, named Ronell.
Yes.
9 months old.
Yes.
But you pregnant again.
Yes.
All right, so let me understand this. Obviously, Mr. Wallace has been going back and forth between you two women, and you two women are still falling for it. Why is there a doubt then, Mr. Wallace, as to whether or not her child is your child if you've been having babies with both of these women back and forth all this time?
Because she's very promiscuous. When we was together, I had installed, it was like spyware on her phone. It's what they would duplicate her text messages and call log and send a copy to my email. And again, for about the 5th, 6th time, I called her texting different men.
Well, where your proof at?
You saying that didn't happen?
Where your proof at? I never saw it.
And you believe she's sleeping with these men?
Yes.
Ms. Austin, were you sleeping with these men?
No, lie detector me, please, right now.
How is you can't just be involved with all these different men without doing
Who? I'm
it?
not you, just because you lay down with everybody who you talk to. Because that's what you do.
You and the Lord know you a slut. and that's
No,
like-
you're a slut.
hold on,
You're
hold
a
on, hold
slut. You're a slut.
Mr. Wallace,
You're a
you
slut.
remember from the
You're a
last time
slut.
you were here,
I don't-
we are going to speak to women respectfully in the courtroom. You can express yourself, but do it respectfully. So you believe she was sleeping around?
If I'm dead, so why you keep on sleeping with me? Why? 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 I'm pregnant again. Why? Why?
Easy access.
Why? You say that about
All
her,
right.
yeah.
So
Why
now,
do you keep allowing me to sleep
I'm
with
gonna
you?
keep on just because I know that you with her. She's
So,
allowed.
I don't have nothing to do with that.
Yes,
If
you
you
do.
can sleep with somebody else,
Yes,
man,
you
then
do.
you got low
I know you're not
Ladies,
talking.
ladies,
I know you
you guys want to hear the case?
let's get some order. Let's get some order. No, get her, Ranielle. Court is back in session in the case of Austin v. Wallace. Due to the exchange that occurred between Ms. Roberts and Ms. Austin, Ms. Roberts has been removed from the courtroom. You know, we're here because yet another child is in the world, and we're unsure if you are their biological father. Ranielle, 9 months old. Before we had to take a recess, we were dealing with the issues as it relates to the doubts surrounding the paternity. You were outlining that you felt like Ms. Austin was sleeping around.
Yes, ma'am. If you're talking to other people while you're pregnant and right after you're pregnant, of course, I'm gonna have doubts about the child.
Right. Ms. Austin, are you admitting that you also had a relationship with somebody else during the time?
No, I wouldn't even call it a relationship.
It was just someone else you were seeing.
Yeah, or talking to,
Okay.
because I was hurt
But if you,
by trying to get back to Aunt Ranielle for the things that he has done to me.
And so at the end of the day, you all can see now that two wrongs never make a right. They make more wrong,
yes, ma'am.
right? Because you were wrong for going back and forth between the two women, and then you were wrong for being pregnant and talking to other men and expecting him to then believe your child is his child automatically. And look, I don't want things getting out of hand, and I know this is an emotional thing to talk about, Miss Austin and Mr. Wallace. I don't understand how you two fell apart.
Because like she said, she tried to get back at me for the things that the mistakes that I made.
Actually, Ranielle left his apartment and he moved with Kendra.
Just out of the blue, he woke up and said, I'm
Exactly.
gonna
I
move with
didn't
Miss Roberts
just
now?
go with
No.
her.
So what happened?
You were being promiscuous, and I'm not gonna tolerate that.
So basically, Mr. Wallace, you can sleep around, but your women can't. Mr. Wallace, I see right now, not much has changed since the last time we were here. I was hoping that it would. Another thing that hasn't changed, that there's another child whose paternity is in question and you are a possible father. But you have doubt.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the baby has a resemblance to you or your family? Are you concerned about that?
I feel like we have certain features, but you can't just base it all off look.
They have the same chin.
Let me see that. Is that evidence you'd like to present?
Yes.
Okay. Walk me through what these pieces of evidence are. The first piece is,
A chin. You see that chin? Look at their feet.
so you say their feet are alike,
Yeah.
but they don't change your mind.
No, ma'am. It's just like you go to a police lineup. They put you in there with 6 other men who look just like you.
And you got picked out of it. And so
you
he
can't
looked
just
just
go
like
off
you.
looks.
So you feel like these similarities are not compelling enough.
No, you can't just go off looks. I'm going off her actions.
You couldn't forgive her. You all couldn't work through this. Instead, you just went to stay with Miss Roberts.
And abandoned me and my children.
That's false.
The apartment that I have now is because I moved in because of Ranielle. Because of Ranielle. Ranielle left me to go be with Miss Roberts. He don't care. It's all about him, and he doesn't care.
That's false.
The apartment
Yana.
is because he said he didn't want to stay with Kinsley anymore. He wanted us to be back a family. And I did what I had to do to move into the apartment, Your Honor. I do everything for him. I stood by his side when he had his apartment. He went through a lot. And I was there by his side, never left. And I could have left. I could have walked away. I had a family, like, I could have walked away, but I didn't. I stood by his side in earth because he left me. He keeps leaving me. Every day he leaves me. Like, what more could I do?
That's because you always have other men.
No.
Mr. Wallace, do you hear her?
She could
He
sit
said-
here and put on a show, but
No, that's not a show.
if you
Everybody
stop
knows
having
that.
other men, we wouldn't have this problem.
Everyone knows that. He sits in my house, texts Miss Roberts.
Miss Austin, for the life of me, I love this young man because I've invested so much time in him, but I don't know why y'all want to be with him so bad. So, while you're with Mr. Wallace, you're trying to have this relationship. You got one child together, maybe 3. I'm trying to understand the extent of you feeling like he left you. You say he's always leaving you.
Yes, every time I look up, he's picking a reason to leave.
Explain that to me.
Like, not too long ago, Raniel left the house. He left the house. He took...
So wait, is he there living or is he there visiting?
Yeah, he was there living.
Okay, go ahead.
But he left my house. He leaves my house and goes spends the night out at Kinsley's house. With his stuff still being at my house until I took it to his mom's house. And that's where his stuff been at ever since. He just came back to my house not too long ago like 3 days ago because him and Kinsley had a fight.
When you just broke down a moment ago, I felt for you because I see a young woman here that desperately is trying to have a relationship with somebody that
doesn't want me.
She's lying now.
Ms.
Everything
Austin,
she told you
I
was
don't
a lie.
even know if he doesn't. It's not that he don't want you or he don't want Miss Roberts. Mr. Wallace hasn't grown enough where he can be in a position to want anybody or to truly commit to anybody. And I think ultimately he's got to grow into the man that he needs to become if that's ever going to happen. But you two women continuing to fight and argue and get into altercations, you're pregnant for goodness sake. Are you hoping that it's determined today that Mr. Wallace is Ronell's father? Is that what you're hoping?
Yes.
You are?
Yes.
And Mr. Wallace, what are you hoping for today?
I'm just, agitated.
You feel agitated?
Yes.
Tell me.
Because of the bull crap performance she put on. Look, well, I need to walk out.
Let's stay here and finish it. Come on.
Raniel, don't walk out again. You can stand up here. Do not repeat the same mistake as last time. Stand up here. Get your composure. Get composure.
I knocked that.
Stop it.
No, you won't.
Mr. Wallace.
You sitting up here, you taking her
Come
side.
on.
You ain't even let me get a word in.
Stand up. Jerome, just give him a minute. Give him a minute.
Let's go out here and sit.
God. Mr. Wallace, I'm glad you came back. What I was trying to tell you before you left is I don't want you to make the same mistake again. When you were just speaking to me and you said you're taking her side, I'm not going to let you leave here thinking I'm taking anybody's side. I'm asking the questions that need to be asked. Now, we're going to get you these results because you came here because you wanted to know, right?
Yes.
Are you Ronell's father? I have that for you, and I'm going to give you those answers. And then I'm going to get you all some help. Yes. All right? All right. The results.
Go ahead and take a seat for a second. Sit down. Go ahead and stand up.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Austin versus Wallace, pertaining to 9-month-old Ronell Wallace, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Wallace, you are Ronell's father. I want to get you all some help. I have joining me today via Skype a gentleman by the name of Mr. Wright. Now, he's a social worker in Chicago, your hometown, based right there. Thank you so much for joining us today. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Well, I have a number of social services. I have a number of resources that I want to wrap these young people in, but are they willing to accept my help?
Good question.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes. That's a wonderful thing. Thank you so much, Mr. Wright, and I look forward to hearing about the progress. We will be putting them in touch with you immediately.
All right.
Thank you, sir. That's wonderful. Ms. Wolf, you say that your month-long relationship with Mr. Shelton left you with beautiful twins who he is now denying for dubious reasons. You intend to prove Mr. Shelton fathered both boys, Luke and Levi. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Shelton, you say Ms. Wolf is a promiscuous party animal who has absolutely no idea who fathered her twins. You believe you are just one of several men who were involved with Ms. Wolf, and you claim there is no way you fathered her children. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Wolf, what do you mean he's denying your children for dubious reasons?
He is the father. They look just like him. His friends told me that they looked like him. The conception date was matched up to when we were together during our relationship. I was with 2 other people afterwards, but both of them have been they're out of the picture. So he is the father. Look at them, look at him.
And so, Mr. Shelton, you disagree?
Yes, Your Honor. Whenever I was with her, she was very promiscuous. She was always disappearing. She was very untrustworthy. I didn't know what was going on half the time. We were together for a month and messed around a lot, and she just was never there really. And then she just disappeared one day.
Disappeared? Okay, so take me back. I want to understand the nature of this relationship. How did you even meet?
We met on POF. It was it's an internet dating site. We started talking for a little while, and then we just started hitting it off. We started seeing each other every day. It was really good for the first month, and then one day, like I said, she just disappeared. Now I think she's just trying to grasp for straws and trying to see who the kids are.
Wait a minute. So in 1 month you disappeared, Ms. Wolf?
Yes, that's correct.
So he's right. You just disappeared.
Yes.
Why?
We were both partying at the time. I wanted a new lifestyle for my kids. They deserve better. So I thought the best thing to do was cut everything off. This was before I found out I was pregnant and everything. So.
And why are you emotional? What are you feeling?
I just want my kids to know their dad. I mean, my oldest one, his dad passed away, so he'll never get to know him. And I just feel like it's important that he gets to know them.
All right. So how did you see the relationship with Mr. Shelton? You said it was just a month.
Yes, and like he said, it was really good. We hit it off. We were going to church together. I thought we were both turning our lives around, doing good. But it wasn't that way. There was trust issues. There was other issues that I didn't want to deal with him. And so I ghosted him, I guess you could say.
So you did?
Yes.
You ghosted him?
Yes.
And how soon after that did you find out you were pregnant?
I didn't find out I was pregnant until May. And I got pregnant in March.
And so when you found out, did you tell Mr. Shelton or you just continued to be MIA?
I was living with my current boyfriend at the time. He was pretty much going to be there for them. He had no problem. He was there for my oldest son as well. I didn't bother trying to look for him because I wasn't sure myself. And but the more and more I dug into it, when the conception date was and everything, he's the father.
So earlier in the testimony, you said there were 2 other men you were sleeping with.
That's correct. One.
So why have you excluded them?
One was a black guy, so they're obviously not black. And the other one I used protection with, and I don't believe there was a way that I could get pregnant with him.
Well, know, black people come in all colors, all sizes.
But not blonde hair, blue eyes.
Oh no, black people have blonde hair and blue eyes. That's why I turned around and looked and said, well, let's really see. Because there are plenty of black people that have blonde hair and blue eyes. All right, so Mr. Shelton, how did you find out about the pregnancy?
I just got a message from her one day on Facebook. Being the kind-hearted guy I was, I just said, okay, we can hang out. I can see you. She was wondering how I was doing. She came over to the house. The kids were, or she was pregnant at this time. Pretty sure it was like 9 months, Your Honor. Or she was about to pop, pretty much.
I feel like my kids were already born before he met them or knew about the pregnancy, because I was waiting till they were born to see what they would look like, because I was unsure and I was nervous.
And so you feel like he never even mentioned them, you never even got in contact with him until after the children were born?
That's correct.
And so take me to the birth. What happened when Luke and Levi were born? Obviously, Mr. Shelton wasn't there.
No, he was not.
Who was?
Ralph was there with me, but he's my current boyfriend.
And Ralph
he didn't
is Mr.
know,
Duquois.
of course, he couldn't be there, yes.
So Mr. Duquois participated in the baby's birth?
Yes, he did.
And she also told me that the Ralph could possibly be one of the fathers also.
Oh, she did?
Later on, yes, later on, Your Honor.
That's not true. I was already pregnant. I thought he knew I was already pregnant. I thought we had already discussed this. He's acting like, no, Luke is mine. So that's why we're here today, to prove that Jerry's the father of both of them.
All right, so now you're saying your current boyfriend believes that he is the father.
Yes, that's
of
correct.
your twins.
Because I'll joke and be like, he's just like you. That's your kid, you know. But just messing around with him because he has been there since day one of their.
But he thinks he's the biological father.
Yes.
All right. You know what? I want to hear from Mr. Duquois. Okay. Jerome, will you please escort him into the courtroom?
With me. Right up to the witness stand next to the judge.
Please state your name for the record, sir.
My name is Ralph Duquois.
Mr. Duquois, thank you for joining us today. We are listening to testimony relating to Luke and Levi's paternity. We'd like to know what your relationship is to Ms. Wolf.
I've known her since 2008, on and off, and we were together at the time of conception, having unprotected sex.
So, what did Ms. Wolf tell you about the paternity of these two children? Did she say you're the father?
That I could be possibly the father of one of the
She
children.
told you that?
Yes.
She just testified?
Especially.
I'm joking with you.
What?
It's not, I never told him he was a biological father, ever. It's been a joking around. He's been there since they were born, so he is their dad.
She was partying, and she was not clear of the time and dates of when that happened.
No.
Why are you crying? Why are you so upset?
Your Honor.
That's not the truth.
Your Honor, she was partying with a lot of different kind of people.
Why are you so upset, Ms. Wolf? Can you tell the court? What are you feeling?
I need a second.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's take a breath. So, Mr. Duquois, you say for certain you know you were sexually active with Ms. Wolf during the window of time when the twins would have been conceived.
Yes.
You remember that?
Yes.
Can you take me back and what happened?
She would pop into my life, in and out, come over to the house, and we would have sex, and she'd leave.
And so when she told you she was pregnant, you immediately said, they could be mine?
Possibly, yeah, yes, that I could be the father. I took ancestry, our DNA ancestry, and they came back that we have European DNA descent, and blonde hair, blue eyes does run in my family, so they could be mine.
Do you believe you're the father?
I think I am the father, yes. I could be possibly of Luke, yes.
But not both, not Levi?
Possibly, but not Levi.
So, Ms. Wolf has said you've been taking care of the twins like they're your own. They're 22 months old. You've been pretty much their father figure and the person they have come to rely on to be a father in their lives.
They need somebody. Those little creatures that, you know, they need parents, you know. I was born in a family with parents and a mother and father, and they need that.
They deserve that.
So, Mr. Shelton, I want to ask you, when was the first time you met the twins and you saw them?
After the last time I saw her when she was pregnant, later on, about another 9 months to a year or whatever, she messaged me on Facebook, Your Honor, and she asked how I was doing, and she came over and we were hanging out, and she said one of the boys could be mine.
Just one of them?
I never said that.
They were sleeping in the back of the car, and she pointed to one of them, said that one of them could be mine.
I believe I just said that he looked exactly like, this one exactly looks exactly like him. They're twins.
So the suggestion is that 2 men fathered one set of fraternal twins.
Yes, that's possible in the...
It is you're in the right place. We already know that is very possible. It has happened. Science has already let us know. So what kind of relationship have you developed, Mr. Shelton, with the twins? Can you tell the court?
I've only met the twins one time, Your Honor. I haven't had a chance to be in their life at all. I've been wondering about them. It keeps me up at night.
That's why we're here. I would love for him to be a part of their life. I hadn't reached out to him at all. I was trying to file for child support against him. But I would love for him to be there.
Your Honor, last time that I talked to her, she was supposed to bring the kids over and we were supposed to hang out. But instead, I gave her my address, and then 2 days later, I got child support papers in the mail.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you gave her the address for visitation, and then you got served.
Yes, Your Honor. Well, if I'm the dad, I'd like to know.
And that brings tears to your eyes just to think that it could be your children, and you have absolutely no knowledge of their daily activities?
I have no idea what goes on in their daily lives. I don't even know what their favorite color is. I don't even know what they eat every day, Your Honor. I've asked her so we could see if we can come hang out, so we can come to an agreement, so we could do the paternity test, but it never just came,
But we don't need to hang out. The thing is, you need to be there for your kids if that's what this is. It's not me and you, it's you and the kids.
It's about the children,
yes.
I know.
So we don't need to hang out. We need to go get the DNA test like we are doing here.
All right, I'm ready for the results, and we have enough of them. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows, just so we're clear. Because we are dealing with fraternal twins, and we know that fraternal twins could potentially have 2 different fathers, we had to test each child against each gentleman. First results relate to Mr. Duquois. In the case of Wolf versus Shelton, when it comes to 22-month-old Levi Wolf, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Duquois, you are not the father. You are not Levi's biological father. The next result will be for Luke. And you say specifically it was Luke was the child that she said could be yours.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. In the case of Wolf versus Shelton, when it comes to 22-month-old Luke Wolf, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Duquois, you are not the father. So, Mr. Shelton, now that I've read the results from Mr. Duquois, and he is not the biological father of either twin, does this change your feelings about the possibility for you being their father?
No, Your Honor. If I'm their father, I'm going to do what I have to do. I'm going to take care of both of them if they're both mine.
Jerome, let's have the envelopes for Mr. Shelton. In the case of Wolf versus Shelton, when it comes to 22-month-old Luke Wolf, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Shelton, you are not the father.
Surprising to me, Your Honor.
Ms. Wolf, you said Levi was Mr. Shelton's child. Here are the results. In the case of Wolf versus Shelton, when it comes to 22-month-old Levi Wolf, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Shelton, you are not the father. Neither Mr. Shelton or Mr. Duquois are the father of either twin. Ms. Wolf, do you know who is? This is so unfortunate for the children.
I mean, I don't know how to find them.
Do you know where the person is?
We were in Oklahoma.
How about the guy you say that you were with and you used the condom? Is that the person you're thinking about? All right. And the stakes are so high because the children need their father. They need to know. Mr. Shelton's been already...
Thank you for coming.
Well, you've gotten child support papers.
Yes, Your Honor.
It's important that you now move swiftly in your home court.
Yes, Your Honor.
But I'm just so sad for the children.
Me too.
Mr. Duquois, do you still plan to be in the children's life?
I do. I will be there no matter what. Even if I do have to help her find this person, whoever it is, you know, or...
Good. I want to say that is honorable. We talk about science here all the time, but love is the greatest thing of all.